like to start a regular council meeting for August the 8th. I'd like to call the meeting to order, please. Someone would like to start? Councillor Holmes, Councillor Booth, thank you. All in favor? Thank you. Thank you. Adoption of the minutes of July 25th, review the whole, July 25th special council, July 25th regular council. Are there any errors or omissions of any of those minutes? You all look carefully, of course. Okay. Councillor Peak, Councillor Holmes, thank you. All in favor? Thank you very much. 2.2, public hearing report. CEO?
It's just for approval by
Just for
council. It's
approval.
just a formality.
Oh, it's
Yes.
just a formality, okay. Someone like to bring that recommendation forward, please? 2.2, Councillor Booth, thank you.
Shall I read it?
Sure.
That the July 25th, 2016 public hearing report regarding parks in Lower Town 2 be approved.
Okay, seconder, please. Councillor Carlson, thank you. All in favor? Thank you. Passed. Opposed? Okay, resolution to adopt our tonight's agenda. Are there any late items?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No, we have nothing late and
Okay.
no changes.
So adoption of tonight's agenda, please. Councillor Carlson, Councillor Holmes, thank you. All in favor? Carried. No hearings this evening. Delegations, 5.1. Stéphane Lacroix. There's a few typos there, Stéphane, but...
Is there?
Yeah,
I probably had to
that
type them then.
passed. Thank you.
French got in the way.
No arrests or anything because of that? Thanks.
I'll have to get somebody to read them over next time. Good to see you again, Mr. Mayor and Council. I believe you each got a copy of the report in regards to our crime stat for April to June. The nice thing to see is there's a lot of green there, which means that we had a decline in a lot of property crime stats, which is good for us. I think it's when we see from the past, from July, September last year, October, December, January to March, I think that the proactive work that the members have done, and with the assistance of the property crime unit in Penticton to target some of our prolific offender residents, has paid off. And then you can see down below that that gives more time to my members to do a little bit more proactive work. That's why the drug stats are up, and the 24-hour suspension and the RRP, the roadside suspension, are up also. So that's good for us. In regards to our human resources, we were really suffering from mid-June to actually this week, where we were down 3 members due to transfer and then people having to sell their homes to come down to Summerland. So it was a real struggle, considering that everybody else is in the same boat, so we had difficulty bringing some people in. So that meant a lot of rescheduling for our local members, so it was an extra burden for the rest of us, but everybody pulled through real good, so it was a kudos to them. Constable Marsh actually started this weekend back from maternity leave. Constable Stephanie Bond transferred from Campbell River and started July 1st. Constable Ryu actually started this morning, and he came from Pender Island. Both these members bought in Summerland, which I was really happy about, so that's great for us. And I just want to mention Constable Michon, who retired in the end of June after 27 years of service in the RCMP, 8 of which was spent working in Summerland. So we're quite happy for Pierre, and he'll be probably coming back as a reservist. So, but right now he's enjoying retirement, so that's nice. So at this time, we're really 1 member down out of all of our people, so it's good for us for the rest of the summer. Contributing to safe roads, like I said, and you can see in the stat, we had 15 roadside suspension. So that was real good for well, it's good for us, but again, we'd like to see these number down, really. Police relations and visibility. Because we were so down, my objective was to really bump the foot patrols and the bike patrols in town. But because we had shortage of manpower and also I couldn't get anybody trained, there's only really me that's trained to, it may sound funny, but trained to ride a bicycle in uniform. So I did a few in town, and it's really good to see the response from the public. The Summerland citizen really enjoyed seeing us on the bike and on foot downtown and on the beaches. But I'm hoping that with our effective being up, we can bump that maybe for the rest of summer in September and maybe have some more training. I'm in consultation with Penticton to kind of bump that a little bit.
So, excuse me,
Yeah.
what sort of extra trainings required for bike patrol?
It's a 3-day course.
It's just handling equipment and stuff?
Yeah,
on the
handling
bike?
equipment, how to, as funny as it may seem, how to get on and off the bike with all the uniform on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I can see it in, you know, if you've got equipment and you have to deal with it and something's facing you,
yeah,
and you have the equipment that you've got to activate,
yeah,
and yet you've got to still dismount and get participating in whatever you have to participate in.
yeah. And it gets really hot, and it's, I can tell you that it's not very comfortable to be on a bicycle with everything on your hips and whatnot, but it's good for us to be out there.
Good, thank you.
That was in April, Constable Lefebvre, we had that graduation. I think I talked about that at our last meeting here for the DARE. I think we had over 100 students, which was great, and the program is really welcomed by the school and will keep going in September. Action Fest was not an issue for us. It was really well done with the security. So we had a big presence, and as a result, really no big issue. We had Rick Delabert attended and did a presentation on frauds and scam at the Summerland Senior Village. That was really well received. And myself and Constable Mitchell attended the high school grad in Red Surge. And that's basically it for my report. Like I said before, we had some significant event, and that really can't comment, like we all know about the shooting that took place in Summerland. That matter has been taken over by the Penticton Serious Crime. Because he's one of my member, we don't investigate our own. So they investigate the criminal aspect of it, and then the Independent Investigation Office, based out of Vancouver, look after the conduct of my member. So they took over the investigation. My member is still right now on what we call his administration leave. That's why we're down one member at this time. But he's doing fine. And so that was a big event for us. And then also the unfortunate accident on Giant's Head with the transient, which I got to commend. The work of the search and rescue is unbelievable what these people do. On a volunteer, non-paid basis. It was pretty incredible the work they did to assist us in this event. So
yeah, that was a lot of stuff done in the dark in that particular case, wasn't it?
yeah, they actually rescued the one fellow there at 1 o'clock in the morning. They rappelled down the hill in pitch black, which was pretty incredible. I did some of that stuff, and I don't think I would do that at 1 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, that was pretty impressive.
Thank you. Any questions of, yes, thank you.
Thank you. Anecdotally, I've spoken to a number of seniors that have been sort of plagued by telephone scams. I'm wondering if that's true or not.
Well, and then you can see in the crime stat that we had our frauds were up, and that's as a result of these calls coming into us. It's very unfortunate because our hands are tied on these things. Like we can't, I work closely with our media, local media, to advertise it constantly, and then to get the message out that these, whether it's the tax fraud or you've won $1.5 million if you give us $50,000. I mean, there's not much we can do about it. It's these telephone things are from overseas, in the States, or wherever. And then it's basically, if it's too good to be true, it's not true. But it's very hard to get the message across to everyone.
Some people I spoke to, it's like they make a friend out of the person on the
Yeah.
phone line, and, you know, if you're a little bit lonesome or whatever, and it becomes a contact,
And that's who they prey on. And they're not scared. I mean, we're calling these numbers because we're able sometimes to get the numbers. And they don't really, they're not scared of us either. Yeah, because they know we can't touch them.
it's just education.
It is. Prevention, education is the best way to go. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? Thank you very much, Stefan.
You're welcome.
Appreciate your report. I'd like to look forward to seeing, once you're up to complement, that more bike and foot patrols will be welcome.
Definitely.
Would someone like to bring that Stefan's report forward for information, please? Thank you.
I'd like to read it.
Yep.
The second quarter report for 2016 presented by Sergeant Stéphane Lacroix of the Summerland RCMP Department be received for information.
Seconder, please. Counselor Trainer, thank you. All in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. Okay, now we have the opportunity for public comment, where we have a maximum of 15 minutes and 2 minutes per person to address any item in the agenda that might be highlighted. So is there anybody from the public that would like to address? Yes, Christine, come forward.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Christine Petko speaking on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce and Tourism Summerland. I just want to mention, this is in support of item 12.3, temporary moorage for the Fintry Queen. The proponent, Mr. Schwab, had made a presentation to the Chamber in 2014, and at that time, the board certainly supported the efforts of Mr. Schwab to secure temporary moorage in the South Okanagan and specifically in Summerland. We believe that it will appeal to visitors, certainly as part of the transportation history of our region. And it also adds the possibility of a shuttle opportunity between Summerland, Naramata, and Penticton, which is really a plus for the growing cycling infrastructure and opportunities that creates for sort of a grand circle tour utilizing other transportation methods as well. So certainly I just wanted to add that for this item.
Great, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Appreciate that. Okay, if there's nothing more, then my mayor's report. So, activity's picking up. Building permits are up dramatically, in particular the value of building permits. Major projects are also coming off the drawing boards, in particular the Garnet Valley Water Separation and Road Project, where construction will commence in September. A list of outstanding tasks is listed in the agenda as it is in every agenda package. These tasks bring with them the need for adherence to process, both regulatory or required and optional. An example, as an example, a project that can come to us, and this is sort of supposition and it may not all occur with each one, but as a project comes to us, staff interact. The developer may make an application, which could include an OCP amendment, which has to come to council and may receive first and second reading. They then will likely apply for rezoning. A public hearing is held before third reading, and they then will likely apply for development permit. The project will be held at third reading until they meet or satisfy all our conditions. At the initial point of contact, the developer may want to, or it may be suggested, that a public open house be held by the developer. Anywhere along the process, council may ask for another public meeting. It is our intention to go beyond the required process, especially where we think additional information may be required by the public. We're trying to be proactive in consultation, but if we are not entirely proactive, we're trying to be sensitive to reasonable concerns. An example was the protective barriers on Prairie Valley Road. The barriers were not well received, to say the least. Staff arranged meetings with residents and examined their ideas. As a result, the large unsightly concrete barriers were removed and a new curbing was installed, trying to provide more aesthetically pleasing barriers, providing the residents with better access and parking, while at the same time protecting children as they headed to school. This is just one example. We've had several others, which is not written in here, but we had the sewer project in Trout Creek, for example, and staff went house to house down there, talking to residents, letting them know what the project was about, and so on and so forth. So, and they're now doing the same thing with the Garnet Valley project, where of course there's aspects of property acquisition vis-a-vis the road right-of-way and so on. But they are making a strong effort, talking to all the individuals and the owners and residents in the area. And it's a strong outreach by staff and council to make sure that we're doing the best we can in communicating what we're doing as these projects come on. When this council came into office, one of our objectives was to do a good job of public consultation. We moved in that direction by providing 15 minutes at the beginning of our agendas, as you've just seen, giving people the opportunity to bring information forward regarding highlighted items prior to a vote taking place, as well as bringing concerns forward on any item at the end of the meeting. I'm currently looking at ways to enhance some of these opportunities. And that's my report. Thank you. CEO.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple of meetings of council that are coming up in the near future that I wanted to remind everyone of. August the 11th, there is a meeting where the cultural plan will be presented, and also August the 17th, permissive tax exemption workshop with council. Both of those are at 7 p.m.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I guess we're moving forward to 9.1. CEO, refer that, or?
I'll refer that over to our Manager of Legislative Services.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This item was discussed at the July 25th Committee of the Whole, and this is just to formalize that direction to staff via a council meeting.
Thank you. Someone like to bring that resolution forward? Councillor Carlson?
I would move that the Prairie Creek Restoration Dale Meadows Park to Giants Head School report submitted by Golder and Associates be referred to staff for review.
Seconder? Councillor Traynor, thank you. All in favor? Thank you very much. Moving forward to correspondence. Are there any items in the correspondence that people would like to bring forward? Actually, I've got a couple, so, but primarily, I guess I'm interested in the Ministry of Community Sport and Cultural Development and our gas tax, and I think I've raised those with our CAO since she's also the CFO.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this is the first installment of the funds that we'll receive, that Summerland will receive in this year from the gas tax money, or the Community Works Fund. One of the precursors to receiving these funds was a new survey that was implemented this year about asset management. So upon completion of that survey, then the funds have been advanced. So we're expecting another installment, I believe, late November or early December.
Okay, so that's the gas tax. What about the Ministry of Community and Sport and Development?
Oh, sorry, I misunderstood you.
Okay.
My apologies.
No.
So our small communities grants and our traffic fine revenue sharing payments, those are both annual installments. They exceeded the amount that we had in the budget for those items. So that's good news. And those are ongoing programs from the province. The funds for the small communities grant are available to council to fund programs as they see fit. And the traffic fine revenue sharing grants must be used to go towards our policing costs.
Oh, I see. Okay, thank you. Any council members have anything they'd like to bring up? Councillor Holmes.
Just a question on how they compare to last year.
Compared to last year's, let me
One
find the
of them's
right
down.
page. I'll just find the right page in here. I know that last year there were additional programs. I think in their letter they say that there was $5 million was advanced into from 2016 back to 2015. So we got additional one-time payments back in that year. Yeah, back in last year. And unfortunately, in the schedules that we have in the results tonight, there are other grants included in there. So I'll have to do some research to let you know that. But I know we are down. but expected to be down,
Yeah.
actually over what our forecast was.
Okay, one other one, I'm going to ask our Development Services Manager to maybe comment on our building stats. Anything, I mean, they're pretty obvious that they're there, but it's kind of interesting to me that the permit number's not up that much, but the value is, so.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. As you can see from the count, we issued 11 permits in June or July of 2016, which is the lowest number of permits in the last 5 years. However, the value is 3.7 million. The next closest was 215 with 2 million, and they go down from there. So while we were issuing less permits, they were for more major construction with a higher value. And if you look at the year-to-date, we've issued more permits this year than any of the last 5, with a total value of 16 million, which is quite a bit higher than the last 5 as well. So we're very busy in the building permit department.
Good. Yeah, I've wandered past their desks a couple of times, and heads are down and pencils are moving quickly. Okay, anybody else, any comments on any of the correspondence? No? Thank you. So I'd like to motion to receive as written, please. Councillor Barkwell? Second.
Move to receive the reports as written.
Okay, thank you. Seconder, please. Councillor Carlson, thank you. All in favor? None opposed? It's carried. Thank you. Okay, 10.2, Committee Commission Minutes. Any comments there from the minutes presented? Hearing none, would someone like to bring the recommendation forward that it be received for information? Councillor Peak, thank you.
That the minutes included in the report date for the August 8, 2016 regular council meeting from the manager of legislative services be received for information.
Seconder, please. Councillor Trainer, oh, you're jumping in here today. All in favor? Thank you. Okay, the motion's carried. Okay, we're moving forward to 12.1. I gather there's no development services reports, Co-Counsel?
No, Mr.
Manager of Development Services. So we're into 12.1, Water Sustainability Act.
Yes.
Deal with that.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll ask our Director of Works and Utilities to
Oh.
introduce the report.
Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The report in front of you provides an update to Council on the Water Sustainability Act that came into effect in February of this year. In the report, there's 5 key changes that are noted, and how each of them affect our existing wells. Basically, if I'll run through them very quickly, the first one is for licensing non-domestic groundwater users, which applies to the district. We currently have 3 wells in place. 2 are in place for emergency purposes. 1 is for a small area of land owned by the KBR and rodeo grounds. We basically have 3 years to apply under the new water license to get those approved. If we do so before March of next year, the fees are waived for that. There's no direct responsibility for the municipality with regards to private wells, and domestic private wells do not fall under this act. There's some new maintenance requirements that are listed in there as far as disinfection, maintaining clear access, structural integrity of the well and surface seal. The second one, there's some new water fees and rentals. They're minor changes, and any of those will be accounted for in the 2017 budget. Third item is stronger protection for aquatic ecosystems. So there's more stringent requirements in place when performing work in and around streams. Number 4, expanding groundwater protection measures. So this allows the government to restrict surface water and groundwater use during droughts. They could issue a critical environmental flow protection order, but with that, domestic users, there would be a kind of a minimum or a critical household use that would be set, which is 250 liters per day per dwelling. That would still be able to be used. There's also a fish population protection order that could be issued by the government, which if this flow in streams gets low and is impacting the survival of fish, then there could be more stringent restrictions in place. The 5th one's with regards to dams, so there's some enhanced dam safety measures. There's the dam emergency plan, which we basically have in place right now with their existing emergency plans. There's just a template that they're looking to get everyone to transition to so that the plans are consistent among each municipality and dam owner. And just to note that our existing licenses with regards to water storage and use aren't affected by the new Water Sustainability Act.
Thank you. Any questions? Thank you, Councillor Peak and Councillor Holmes.
Yes, thank you very much for highlighting those, Mr. Johnson. My question refers to the licensing, so if we apply prior to March 1st, 2017, will we have any difficulty meeting that deadline?
No.
Councillor Holmes.
Just in regard to private wells, you said that the act doesn't apply to them?
To domestic private wells.
But then you say in your report that private well owners must apply for this.
Private well owners that use it for non-domestic uses here.
Oh, okay, I see.
The act also encourages domestic users to apply, but it's not a requirement.
And do we know who they are? And can we provide them with notification about how it affects them, or is it province do that, or how?
That's what I noted in the report, that we could make contact and provide information for those well users.
And we know who they are?
I believe we would know within our district where the wells are.
I think that would be useful if you could.
Yeah, it will definitely make.
It's awareness, public awareness.
Yeah.
That obviously doesn't affect too many people in town, but the ones that does affect.
Yeah, so the ones that we can identify, we will, and then we'll also have some kind of global notice on our website or Facebook page.
Thanks.
Councillor Peak.
I make note that Silva had a very good session on this particular thing, and that was very interesting information for councillors that was well covered.
Would someone like to bring the recommendation forward, please? Councillor Holmes.
Move that the report, the Water Sustainability Act, on how the new Water Sustainability Act affects the District of Summerland, submitted by the Director of Works and Utilities on August 8, 2016, be received for information.
Seconder, please. Councillor Peak, thank you. All in favor? Motion's carried, thank you. Next, 12.2, letter of support, Global Okanagan, CRTC broadcasting license.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Director of Corporate Services.
Thank you. Good evening. This is a request from Chorus Entertainment, which owns both Global Television and, more locally, Global News Okanagan. They're requesting a letter of support as they have received nearly 100 from other organizations, nonprofits, other local governments, and so forth, and they're looking for Summerland's support as well in renewing their CRTC broadcasting license, which expires in August next year. It is a long public process, so they're asking now. Unfortunately, the deadline is August 15th to submit the letter. So staff are seeking a direction from council whether or not that support wants to be given.
Okay, good. Thank you. Councillor Holmes.
Is it usual for municipalities, local councils to provide?
Yes, I actually looked. There's a link in the document there to the website. I actually looked through it, and there's a fair number of both mayors and councils who've officially written letters of support. It's because it affects the media in the local area.
Councillor Holmes.
Then if that's the case, I don't really have a problem with it. They're the only TV organization that actually covers the Okanagan, and specifically Summerland. And I think they've always provided quite fair and balanced coverage. And so I think I see no reason why we should support them.
So if it wasn't fair and balanced, you would feel different?
I would have to think about it.
Okay, I just thought I'd catch you on that one. Okay, so you're bringing that forward, are you? As a motion, please.
Move that the letter of support for the renewal of Chorus Entertainment Inc.'s broadcasting license be submitted to the Canadian Radio, Television and Telecommunications Commission.
Seconder, please. Councillor Carlson, thank you. All in favor? Motion's carried. We'll get working on that, Jeremy, I guess. Have that done. Councillor Holmes.
Could I just add that
Yep.
Andrew Jung, the reporter who
That's
actually
correct.
covers the South Okanagan and has been promoted, I believe last week was her last week here, and she's moved on to Edmonton. So,
That's correct, yes.
So I think that she's done a great job herself, and she's helped. And I look forward to their new reporter in this
Yeah, no, Angela did an excellent job for the South Okanagan, and we appreciate her efforts. Okay, moving forward to 12.3.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a request for temporary moorage of the MV Fintry Queen, and again, the Director of Corporate Services will speak to this report.
So as this may be a time-consuming process for staff, we wanted to get council's direction on whether or not we wanted to pursue this. The proposed resolution is regarding Andy Schwab, or the company that owns the Fintry Queen, to give a presentation to council, but prior to that presentation, there would be staff involvement in researching the impacts of that, so it would be a fair and balanced presentation. But prior to that work, we wanted to get your direction on it. The owners have looked at a couple of locations in Summerland where it could be temporarily while they finish up their business planning in Penticton. What staff have heard is that they are moving forward with the business plan. Penticton is so far supportive of it. And they are seeking support from council and staff to move forward on this, but we'd have to look at the details of moorage locations and the impact on the surrounding area. There's not too many details, but that's what the presentation would hopefully bring.
Thank you. Just to sort of make comment after the CEO of the chamber came forward, I think that was good support, and looking at this initially, I actually hadn't included the bike side of things. I was thinking more of wine tours myself initially, but of course you could blend the wine tours and the biking, but that might be a little difficult. But at the same time, it does create a great circle route and linking the communities, and especially with the government's push on cycling and increasing the paths and so on, and the quality of the paths, I think it's a real bonus to be at least considering this and getting staff to give them support to move ahead and put some time into it. So, Councillor Holmes.
I'm uncomfortable denying anybody the opportunity to present to us.
Yeah.
I don't understand why it would require a lot of staff time before presentation. I can see maybe after presentation, depending on what we do with it. So maybe if we could just ask for clarification of what staff time would be required before someone came to talk to us.
We were considering talking to both the proponent and the ministries involved to make sure that we were getting good information from all sides, so that when the presentation's made, staff could also speak to it. Sort of a combined package deal. It's not necessary if you simply want the presentation first, and then from that make a direction on whether or not staff would pursue it further. That's also possible.
It's probably a good idea, but I'm also concerned about capacity. But we've got a lot of things on the go. So before we go to councillors, any comments? Yeah.
I would just echo that we are very busy, and so that was the reason for the item coming tonight, was to get council's direction on how much staff time needs to be invested before the presentation comes before you.
Councillor Carlson and Councillor Peak.
From looking at some of the history on the Fintry Queen, it raises some alarm bells that it's been a problem in Kelowna, denied by West Kelowna, Peachland, and now, as far as I can tell, they're still not moving forward in Penticton due to some covenants and other things that haven't been met yet. So, and I also know that I was reading and it says that by the end of July, he had hoped to sell $10,000 worth of tickets for next summer's shipment, and I looked on his Indiegogo, and there's about $500 worth of money raised, and so I guess it would be nice to know why it's failed in so many other places, and why Summerland is the very last place that seems to be in the Okanagan that you would be approaching.
Councillor Peak.
I guess we could ask someone else, but
Yeah. Councillor Peak.
Knowing somebody's history makes your questioning much more acute, so that'll be in our favor. I'm in favor of having a presentation done. There are other areas, because he's talking about Narromana and 3 Mile as well. certainly there are places in the world that make use of businesses that apply these kind of boats, and they are wonderful tours. They can be really good. A tie-in to heritage here would certainly be an advantage. So if this becomes an operable business, that could actually enhance our tourism. I think it's well worth listening and doing some investigation on.
Yeah, I just wonder with this particular motion though, whether, do we need to put in staff time? Should we just hear the presentation and maybe make a decision as to whether we want to put any more time into it? Is that something anybody wants to think about? Because I don't, I don't want to create work for staff unnecessarily. And if we've got, but I do like the idea, generally speaking, and one of the thoughts behind this is that Summerland's one of the few places that has potential moorage capacity. That's one of the issues. So anyway, Councillor Traynor, then Councillor Peak.
So basically, he just wants to do a presentation to ask if he can temporarily store it here. Is that correct?
That's our understanding so far.
Did he give you any idea of what temporary means?
No.
No? Okay. Well, I would be interested in hearing what he has to say, and then maybe after that we could then direct staff to provide us with more information.
Yeah, Councillor Peak?
Well, I don't see any difficulty in having staff look into the bylaws or statutes or with natural resources. I don't think that would be particularly time consuming.
Okay. Yeah, it'd be nice to have a small amount of preparation done just so that we, aren't in the dark if we want to move ahead with it at all.
And there could be an inquiry possibly made if there are difficulties presented in any of the leasing agreements or regulation in terms of Penticton. That's also background that doesn't take a great deal.
That's true too. Okay, would someone like to bring the motion forward, please? Councillor Peak, thank you.
The staff be directed to allow Mr. Andy Schwab's request to make a presentation regarding temporary moorage of the MV Fintry Queen in Summerland in a future meeting of council.
Seconder, please. Councillor Holmes, thank you. Any further discussion? Councillor Carlson.
Just to clarify, is this something that he would bring forward just to tell us what he would like to do, or are we asking for some staff time to actually?
Well, we're going, according to the motion here, I see, there's actually,
The reason the motion is brought to us is that staff is hesitant to put in a whole bunch of time without us giving them that direction, but from what I hear, maybe an option just to allow them to speak without having to go through all the ministries.
I think the idea was, and how I see looking at the motion, that it's, suggesting that he'd be allowed to make a presentation, but it doesn't indicate any staff time in that.
It wouldn't be necessary in the motion, though, it's just direction to staff.
Yeah, okay. I think we're looking sort of at a minimum of inquiry by staff so we can move ahead in some manner. I think that's is that okay?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. I think that's all we're looking for. I think a lot of staff time is not what I'm looking for. I think we're looking for some movement in terms of finding out some information as to how it might apply to us as a community. Councillor Holmes?
Yeah, I say, let's just hear what the fellow has to say, and I think a lot of us are quite familiar with some of the history, and we all have questions.
Yeah.
Let us ask him directly these questions rather than sit here and speculate.
Yeah, I think this particular ferry was very much a part of my history as a kid growing up on the west side. So in fact, I think I was actually at the wheelhouse at this particular ferry at one point, at about 8 years of age. So anyway, we have a seconder, did we? Okay.
Yes.
All in favor? Okay, motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Okay, CFO, CAO. Raj.
Thank you. So we have tonight a report on the financial results to June 30th. There are lots of schedules and information that follow the cover report. I'll just do a brief introduction and then ask council for any questions that they may have. So at this point, June 30th, just recast council's memory back to passing of the budget in the middle of May. So we haven't had a lot of opportunity to move forward on some of the operating projects and capital works. In the actual results side, so revenues and expenditures, in the general fund on the revenue side, a majority of the money in there comes from property taxation, which is recorded at June 30th. So the percentage of revenues reflected in the reports is over 72%. In the utility funds, so the water, sewer, and electric, those revenues are recorded each month as the utilities are billed. So they're closer to the 50% or lower at this point in time, but certainly not as high as in the general fund, that's over 70%. So council did did decide to do some increases in the utility funds, and they were implemented with the June billing. So we aren't at 50% in sewer and electric, as you might expect for a June report, but we are there in water. I do note in my report that water revenues are, maybe I didn't put, no, I'm sorry, I didn't put it in the report, but I do have some information that water consumption to June 30th for domestic use is about 84% of consumption last year. So we have this wet year, and certainly that impacts our revenues. And so we'll see where we end up when we get to the end of the watering season. Actually, I do see it in my report now, 84%. Building permit revenues are strong. We're over 50% of the budget, as the mayor noted in his report, and we have on the development services reports included in the agenda. We've already talked about the small communities and traffic fund, revenue sharing grants. I just also would note that for recreation, we believe revenues are on track to meet the budget, and there has been some increased interest in programs at both the pool and the arena. On the expense side, operational expenses are well under 50% in all of the areas, and our police force budget to date is at 42.2%, although we do expect to have full consumption of our budget in that area. When Stefan was speaking about his manpower, he noted that we have a special investigation going on, and Summerland will require some funds to pay for that. So that's where we're expecting that we're going to be spending our full budget this year. So that's my introduction, and if there are any questions from council, I'll ask for them now.
Council, questions of our CFO? Councilor Barco.
I can see why, a lot of these getting started on a lot of projects were held up because the budget was late getting approval and you had to be certain. But in the capital projects, it's like there's practically nothing started. Are we going to see the completion of all these things, or is it there's going to be carry over to next year, or what's going to happen here?
Well, I know that staff is busy right now working on requests for proposals or quotes, or that background work that has to happen before we can get started on a lot of the projects that are in the works area. So it is our expectation that we are going to move forward on our capital programs. Whether we're able to complete them all by the end of the construction season, that remains to be seen.
I mean, I guess some of them will be easy to spend when you're buying an expensive piece of equipment like a loader and such, but there's only 141,000 out of $2.5 million that's been done so far. So it just makes me wonder, I guess, how we're going to manage to have time to finish these things.
Well, I think your comment's fair that a lot of the money, though, is in the fleet area. Mm-hmm. So once we get those requests for quotes out, the purchase of the equipment goes pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And certainly, we are moving forward on the Garnet Valley project. Construction's expected to start on that in September,
Yeah.
pending the results of the tenders. So that's going to move forward as planned. Some of the items on here, though, like the, I'm just trying to think which ones, we're dependent on grant funding. So Chris, can you remind me which sidewalk project? Is it the Quinpool Victoria upgrades? Yes, they're right. They're both of those are ICBC. So we haven't had any information or opportunity on those yet. So those ones that are dependent on funding from other organizations, of course, may not complete in this year. But certainly your point's well taken that we have a large program here that we need to get moving on.
I have one question regarding trails.
Yes.
Looking at the Fife Road improvement area where on the Trans-Canada Trail. It was brought, I actually rode the trail there a couple of weeks ago and noted, was a little surprised it was as challenging as I wanted it to be. But other people don't necessarily want it as challenging. In other words, none of the work is being done, and I looked at the date of the application. I guess it was March, was it, that we haven't received the funds yet, or we are waiting, or what's the story there?
No, we were waiting for announcement of the Bike BC grant information for this year, which we recently found out that we weren't successful.
We weren't successful.
For the additional work that we were looking to do. So we're moving forward on the $30,000 project that was approved last year for some improvements on the corners up from the trailhead, but not the work out to the trailhead and onto the Fife.
Okay, because I know...
We just received that information this week.
Okay, because I know Mr. Seelman had a letter to us, and I don't see it in our correspondence
Yeah, so
with
that would
respect to that.
Yeah, that'll be coming next council.
I
There's
see.
an update on that
Okay.
project.
Yeah, because I happened to meet him on the trail. I was again out there on Saturday and just happened to run into Mr. Seelman, and we had a little discussion, and he was wondering, so that's information that he needs to see and that we'll bring forward next time, I guess.
Next meeting, yes.
Good. Okay, any other questions? Councillor Holmes and Councillor Peak?
Yeah, just one question on the capital expenditures, is the preparation online registration. I noticed in the comments there's no status of where that's at. Do you know offhand?
I do know. I'll give it a try. So I believe that the implementation has been pushed back to March. Is that correct, Jeremy, for that program?
For online registration?
Yes.
Yeah, it's timed with the programming that's done at the rec center, so they've picked a date of, I believe, February 7th. So the work begins this fall, all aiming for that launch date. And it's to make sure that it lines up with the rec programs.
So it is moving forward.
Oh, yes.
Councillor Peak?
Thank you, that was one of my questions, but I have some concern that we haven't done the RFP for our recreation master plan, and I really would like to see that. I note that in our comments or whatever, it says August, but we've been a year and a half in, we wanted to do a kickstart last year, so I really hope that we actually get it out. I think the community is interested in having some inputs into it, so I think the advantage is getting it to actually be completed this year.
Any comment?
I can certainly do some investigation on where that work is sitting at this point, since you are correct in saying it's been on the books for quite some time.
Okay, I appreciate that. My other consideration in as so much as we were late in getting our budget finished, we're certainly within the timelines that we can do it in. Do we have plans of maybe getting it started a little bit earlier this year, or how will that work forward for us?
We don't have a definite plan for this year's budget yet, but certainly the season will be upon us before we know it. So, yes, yeah.
I think the plan was, Councillor Peak, to be into it earlier than we were last year, for sure. So that, which means that I guess departments start preparing now, have they, in terms of their information for you?
Not yet.
Not yet?
Not yet, Mr. Mayor. So being that we're August, we're still sort of working through getting all of the work done on the capital projects and operational items that need to happen in the summer, but it certainly is time to begin thinking about next year's budget.
Okay, thank you. Someone like to bring, Councillor Barco?
Yes, earlier when we were talking about the grants we received, you said the one, was it the gas tax
Yes.
was related to the asset management plan?
They implemented a new survey this year for all local governments
Mhm.
as a requirement. If you didn't complete that survey on time,
Mhm.
you weren't going to be getting your first installment from the Community Works Fund.
So that survey, what was the survey? Because I was thinking, when you said that, I was thinking this RFP that we're going for asset management, but it's entirely different then, yeah?
Same topic, but
Yep.
this survey was quite in-depth and covered all asset groups, and it solicited information about, you know, how far along your community, what our community is in terms of our asset identification and our renewal plans, our funding strategies for them.
Okay, so the answers will be quite different next year when we have hopefully completed our asset management plan, and, well, yeah.
The Director of Works and Utilities is nodding because he was quite involved in completing that survey as
Yeah.
well. So absolutely, as we get that work completed, we certainly will see different answers when we complete that annual
When-
survey
Received the
next year.
funding to do the asset management plan now.
Our grant was approved. We
Yes.
received that notification in the spring of this year, yes. But we haven't gone
So-
forward with any of the work yet.
Yeah, I was just wondering, the RFP is supposed to go out in August. When would the plan be completed? Because I guess it won't be in time to consider results from that for our next year's budget, will it?
That would be, you know, perhaps for one group of assets, we may have
Okay, yeah.
information.
Yeah.
But I don't know the answer to that yet
Yeah.
because we don't have the RFP out or any
Yeah.
plans back. But if it's a phased approach,
Yeah.
I mean, there could be the opportunity to have
Yeah.
one of the groups of assets.
That's a good idea, to
completed.
concentrate on one item first, at least get that much. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Good discussion.
Someone like to bring that resolution forward, please? Councillor Holmes?
I move that the report from the Director of Finance regarding the financial results as at June 30th, 2016 be received for approval.
Seconder, please. Councillor Booth, thank you. All in favor? None opposed? Thank you very much. That carries. Is there any new business? Appear not. So we're moving into bylaws, and that's going to Development Services, CM?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First application up tonight is for a rezoning of the property at 12223 Saunders Crescent. And the application is to rezone from RSD1, our medium lot residential, single-family residential zone, to RSD1I, which is our single-family intensive zone. The property is located on Saunders Crescent. It was an infill lot recently created since our new zoning regulations allowed and promoted infill lot creation. It is in our low-density residential intensive designation on the OCP, which was created for exactly this purpose, to allow people to subdivide or infill lots in these areas. The property, as I mentioned, is currently zoned RSD1, and there is a section in the neighborhood, our first rezoning to the RSD1I designation, you can see on the map. So in this particular case, the lot is an infill lot created in this location at the corner on Saunders Crescent, and the proponent is proposing to put a house on that lot. And essentially the change in zoning, there's two changes. One is increasing the floor area ratio from 45% to 50%. The floor area ratio is the proportion of the lot size that you can have for all your floor space. So if your floor area ratio is 45%, it means you can take 45% of the size of your lot, and that can be all the floor space in your house, whether it's spread over single story or 2 stories or whatever. So in this particular case, the increase in floor area ratio from 45% to 50% equates to an increase of about 260 square feet in the house footprint. And as well as that, the rear setback reduces in the RSD1I zone from 7.5 meters, which is about 24 feet, down to 6 meters, which is about 20 feet. In this case, it's not really relevant because the house is a long way from the rear property line. So the house is proposed to look like that. The zoning falls in line with our official community plan, and staff are recommending support of the application.
Okay, any questions of Development Services? Councillor Peak.
Could you go back to where you show us the cross hatching that is the infill area? It's a more general question than specific.
Sure.
So the little red lines are the infill section?
This area here, which you probably can't see, but is cross-hatching, this orangey kind of color, is the area where we anticipate that the RSD1I zone would go. Most of those lots are currently zoned RSD1. So this particular lot here in red is the one that we're considering, which is in that designated area.
If I may,
Councillor Peak, yeah.
just to continue, so when this was looked at, it was within a 5-minute walking area to the downtown core?
Mr. Mayor, it was generally within a 5-minute walk, and it was also looked at which areas of town with which lot sizes and locations of houses would best allow for this kind of infill subdivision.
Thank you. And therefore, was there an approximation on how many infill lots might occur in this area at the time it was looked at?
We did not do that number, so I don't have that in front of me now.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I think just to add to what the Development Services said concerning your request or concern, is that all these lots, if I'm not mistaken, were essentially developed when there was septic fields in place. Since then, we've had sewer, so it allows us the opportunity, because you don't need the area for septic fields, that you can go to sewer. So now it presents us with the opportunity to increase densities and increase the number of connections to our sewer system.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was surprised that a 5-minute walking distance didn't actually include more, like going out Victoria, for instance. I was really surprised at that, but I haven't looked at it before.
It might include it if I was doing the walking,
Yeah,
but
certainly
not
better if
everybody
you
else. No, but actually, my house is just across the way from this particular infill lot, and it takes me 8 minutes to get to City Hall. And that's carrying a bunch of junk, so I'm not actually going very fast there, so. Councillor Barkle.
This comment is sort of beyond the scope of this particular application, but it's related to what Councillor Peak has brought up here. I look at that map and I think this 5-minute walk idea is pretty arbitrary. Assuming those other lots on the area that we have here and other areas have sewer, gee, I'd like to see that, our RSD-I infill zoning expanded to anywhere where because all those lots seem to be about similar sizes, and I don't see why 2 adjacent lots there shouldn't be, one's eligible, one isn't. It just,
Good.
but that's for future.
Yeah, that's a good point for further consideration, yeah. Okay, would anybody
So
like-
any other comments in that regard? Just
Well,
sort of.
that was my backhead's thinking, and it really isn't, you're right, it isn't to this application.
Mhm.
It's certainly an opportunity to look to the future.
Yeah.
Councillor Holmes.
I agree.
Very good.
Quick question, were there any letters received on this particular application?
Mr. Mayor, there haven't been yet, but the notification will go out if the bylaw gets first and second reading prior to public hearing.
One second.
Thank you. Would someone like to bring the resolution forward, please? Councillor Trainer.
That the zoning bylaw amendment for 12223 Saunders Crescent, bylaw number 2016-032 be introduced and given first and second reading by title only, and that a public hearing be held on August 22nd, 2016 to receive public feedback on bylaw number 2016-032.
Thank you. Seconder, please. Councillor Holmes. Thank you. Any further discussion? I think it's obvious that we're very interested in increasing densities, and I think the 5-minute walk idea is a bit of a red herring. So I think we're looking at a downtown, more or less a downtown area that was previously developed under sewer and under septic and is now under sewer. And I think that goes right out to Cartwright, if I'm not mistaken. So all the way out Cartwright, Jubilee, all that area is probably prime for this kind of infill. And, you know, because the 5-minute walk is pretty much meaningless in terms of accessing downtown, as far as I'm concerned.
I noticed there's a 2-car garage in this project, so, you know, the walking was, driving is just as much a consideration for that.
Actually, to give the owner credit, I think he walks to work every day.
Mhm.
Correct?
Yep.
Yeah, and that's from a little bit further away than this lot too, so, no, that's good. So, all in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. Okay, did we get a second first?
Yes.
Second, okay. Okay, moving on to 14.2, Childcare Center.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a zoning text amendment, essentially a housekeeping matter, to add childcare center minor, which is essentially a daycare with less than 8 children, as a permitted use, accessory use in the A1 and A2 zones, which are our agricultural zones. And a childcare center minor, there's minor and major currently in our zoning bylaw, and a minor is the use of a dwelling for the care of not more than 8 children, which matches up with the provincial regulations for daycare. These childcare center minors or daycares are currently allowed in our residential zones. They're also allowed in our commercial zones, and they are allowed by the Agricultural Land Commission in the ALR as a home occupation. Our particular regulations suggest you can have a home occupation in the ALR or in our ag zones, but child care center without designation of major or minor are not considered a home occupation. Our home occupation defines or excludes them from the definition. So with respect to child care center minor, we do have one operating prior to the adoption of this zoning bylaw out on Simpson Road, which has been functioning fine for many years. And as this is allowed under the ALC regulations as a home occupation, the application was presented to our Agricultural Advisory Committee, who also supported the application. However, they suggested that there be some risk assessment be done. So we checked with the provincial regulations, and as you can see in the staff report, there's quite a long list of requirements that the province has. So staff are suggesting that just adding the child care center minor as an accessory use in the A1 and A2 zone without any other regulations is adequate. And the application is recommended by staff.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of the planner, please? Councillor Holmes.
I'm just wondering why it was omitted in the first place, and is there any concern, or if there's any bar concern of having child care centers in an area where pesticides and whatever might be sprayed?
Like your example.
I think probably the answer, the planner might be able to eliminate this, but I think it's primarily due to the fact that it's a policy change in 2016 January. So it's essentially
That is essentially the major change, and also the zoning bylaw previously did not have a change between childcare center minor and major. It was just childcare centers
period
as one thing. So when we made the change to have minor and major so that minors could be daycares, we just neglected to deal with them in the agricultural zones. We allowed them in all the residential zones and the commercial zones. The ALC has made that change, so we're essentially bringing ourselves up to date.
Yeah, that's the way I took it. Yeah. Councillor Peak.
I think it allows an opportunity. There's people that work from home, and this may be an expanded opportunity for making money, and it also allows the opportunity to have more daycare spaces available for working parents, which seems to be something that lacks in most communities. So I think this is a good opportunity.
Okay. Thank you. Would someone like to bring that forward as Councillor Carlson?
Just to add, I think having a chance for kids to be taken care of on farms and agricultural areas is probably one of the best things that could happen. So think it's a good idea.
I think it is too. It's just unfortunate if you've read any of the news items lately that most of our farms don't have cows.
Yeah.
We better start raising more then.
Well, there's almost an elimination of asthma as an allergy response amongst children raised in farming situation where cattle are available for close proximity. Councillor Booth.
I just wanted to check one thing with our Director of Planning. So the child care center, that would be right in the home itself? Just like the weddings, you couldn't have another building built on your agricultural land?
That's correct.
Okay, that's good. That satisfies that. Thank you.
So would someone like to bring that forward as presented, please? Councillor Pete, thank you.
That the zoning bylaw amendment Child Care Center bylaw number 2016-031 be introduced and given first and second reading by title only, and that public hearing be held on August 22nd, 2016 to receive public feedback on bylaw 2016-031.
Seconder, please. Councillor Traynor, thank you. All in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. None opposed. Okay, 14.3. Local sanitary service, sewer service area. Mr. Planner?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you very much. This is in follow-up to the last meeting with respect to the Hunters Hill sewer petition. There's 3 resolutions on the docket here. We did not bring forward the second property of the 11700 Sanborn Street with the first petition. There are 2, one very large property and one rather small property. So the petition in item 1 is for the second property that forms the Hunters Hill consolidation. And then the agreement that council authorized staff to create a sewer bylaw once the agreement had been signed. That agreement has been drafted, has been signed by both parties. So now it is appropriate to pass or give first 3 readings to the sanitary sewer service area that will create a service area boundary around the property at 19013 Bentley Road, which is the large parcel, and 11700 Sanborn Street, which is the small parcel. And that will pave the way for starting to get the sewer work done out in that area as part of the subdivision.
So what was the reason that the second petition wasn't included the first time?
We just missed that one. There was 2 properties, and we were focusing on the large one, missed the small one.
Oh, okay. 30 lashes. Any questions of staff, please? I think we're just moving forward. Someone like to bring the resolution forward as presented, please? Councillor Holmes? Thank you. Seconder, please? Councillor Booth, thank you very much. Any further discussion? I think we had a full discussion last time when we were talking about this whole project and how, you know, the idea of a force main meant that it was strictly this development and the commercial or commercial area that would be included, and nothing else would be included as an addition to that line. Councillor Carlson.
That's, I'll just follow up on what you said. So I'm wondering if there's a point in this process where that information is confirmed, the number of, exact number of houses that will be permitted to join into this sewer system. Is it 68? Is there a chance that someday down the road, council of the day will allow more? Is that written into this agreement, and is that something we should be concerned about?
As far as I know, it's, any question of Councillor,
Yes, Mr. Mayor, there is a covenant on the title of the subject properties that limits development on the Hunters Hill site to 68 lots in total. So there can't be any more developed on that site unless the zoning were to change and the covenant were to be removed, which I suppose technically could be done by a future council in some day. But the sewer is being designed to accommodate that number of residential units, plus the Bentley Road Industrial Park as well. So it is technically possible, I believe, to hook to a force main if you have a bunch of infrastructure and a bunch of engineering equipment, but it would be prohibitive for a particular residential property to construct all that and hook in. It's practically impossible. So there is a very slight chance that the service could be expanded unless maybe the gravity main that would be required for the industrial park, if that got extended further to the south, then maybe something could happen. But they would have to apply to council for the same local service area and be included at least up until 2023. And council has the ability to say no if they don't believe it's
So it's a
reasonable.
gravity main that takes it to the force main.
That's correct. There will have to be a gravity main in Bentley Road to allow the industrial park to drain into that gravity main, which will then feed into the force main, which will then.
Okay, has there been an estimation of volume from the gravity main to the force main?
I believe the engineering group for the consultant, or for the applicant, is doing that. We've given them the calculations in our subdivision and development bylaw for an industrial use, and they are required to accommodate that when they put the force main
Thank you,
in.
Councillor Carlson.
Just to follow up on the actual Hunters Hills, now that there are two properties that now create Hunters Hills, that still is only 68 spots, correct?
That is correct. Those two titles were always in there. That was just staff oversight that did not include them both at the last time.
Councillor Barco.
Sort of in respect to what Councillor Carson was talking about, the number of lots on Hunter's Hill, that was sort of limited by the fact that it was a septic system previously. I myself would be receptive to the concept of additional lots in that particular subdivision, as long as it was on the same footprint as the original plan and preserved all the same park area and stuff as it's being laid out. Now we don't have to have those septic fields and such, that the 4 different areas. And if we're going to have any, then why not have, what would be appropriate for that kind of project with the septic fields. And secondly, or, with the sewer, sorry.
Excuse me, can you clarify that, please? What are you saying?
Well, I'm saying that maybe the density should be higher now that it can be serviced with sewer rather than septic for Hunter's Hill. And
In
it
other
sounded
words-
like Councillor Carlson was really concerned to be limit it to the 68 in the application as we have now. And of course, you couldn't, so the decision has to be now before that system
Yeah,
goes in.
but I think perhaps the planner can clarify this, but I believe when it was originally planned as having septic system, it was based on a cluster development. And the cluster development was based on lot sizes that were well below the 2 hectare or the.
Yeah, how we got here, Mr. Mayor, is that the property is zoned country residential.
Right.
Country residential without sewer is limited to 1 hectare
Right.
parcels. It's a 68 hectare site, so they get 68 1 hectare parcels. Then there was a discussion that if they were to cluster those 68 lots into one area, then the remainder of the site, which has a high environmental sensitivity, could be preserved and dedicated as parkland. So we got from 68 1 hectare lots to 68 lots that could be smaller through a communal septic system in order to preserve much of the site in its natural state. We went from there to getting multiple communal septic systems on the site. Was about the same cost, I believe, as putting in a force main. Gravity main wouldn't work because it would be way too expensive, but a force main could potentially work. So we brought that to council. And so at this point, the zoning only allows for 67. There's a covenant on the or 68 total. There's a covenant on the property also limiting it to 68. So if an increase in density were to be considered, that would be an OCP amendment, a rezoning application, which council could certainly entertain if they wished, and we'd go from there.
But the area involved still only involves the area that the cluster concept involved, correct?
Well, staff would certainly want to contain the concept of development as it currently is, so if there was a rezoning application, we would be careful as to which portions of the property received the more dense zoning.
I want it way more certain than this. As far as I'm concerned, this thing has moved ahead based on the cluster development that was required for the sewer or the septic system that was envisioned. And the only thing that changed was going from the septic system for the cluster to a forced main for the cluster.
That is correct.
Okay, that's the way I see it. And because the forced main allows only 68 hookups, there will be no consideration of increased hookups because there's no volume capacity in the line on the forced main to take any more than 68. Is that correct?
Well, that's correct at this point, but it hasn't been
Well,
constructed.
how could it be incorrect at any point if the forced main is only allowed to take 68 homes? So if someone were to say we're gonna have a lot more homes in there, and we're gonna use the same forced main, they wouldn't be able to because it wouldn't have the capacity.
Once it's constructed, that's quite correct. At this point, if council had a wish to see higher density in there and we went through the appropriate applications, the design could be
Well, there's
adjusted.
been absolutely no indication we want more density on that site, as far as I'm concerned. Councillor Holmes?
And the other day, it'd be up to the developer, but, and as you say, it would have to be done at the outset. But I think Councilor Sparkle's point is that this whole 68 lots was based on the premise of a septic going in.
Right.
Not based on the premise of sewer going in.
Yeah.
Now, if it's now, should the developer so wish that, you know, to look at it again, based on the premise of sewer going in, then we should have an open mind. It's not up to us to decide, but.
To some degree it is, because we've now come full circle. Because the original concept was over 400 lots on this property with a sewer involved down to Turner. And that was the original concept. And because the sewer wasn't possible, it was restricted to 1 hectare lots for septic. Then that was found to be not the best approach by the developer, so they went to a cluster development with septic. And as far as I'm concerned, we moved ahead based on the cluster approach with a forced main, keeping the number at the same so we could preserve the balance of the property, all of it, other than the cluster area, because it is environmentally sensitive and there's all kinds of reasons to leave it alone. That's where I thought we were sitting. Councillor Barclay.
I think you missed my sort of,
I don't think so. Carry on.
the premise of the whole suggestion was that the footprint, the area, the house, all the environmentally sensitive area that has been designated as park and such as now would stay the same. The actual area that houses are built on would have to stay the same. I'm suggesting that possibly you could have smaller lots and more houses now that you have sewer, and the areas where there used to be the communal septic system that you can't build on now potentially could be built on. That's what I'm referring to. Absolutely, in my mind anyhow, all of the area that has been agreed to be preserved needs to be preserved and should be preserved. It's just that within the footprint of the area that was going to be developed before, it could potentially have a higher density now.
Including the septic area is what you're talking about.
Well, that and maybe some smaller lots and such. And the time to do it would have to be now before the forest main is built. You know, and it's up to the developer, as Councillor Holmes suggested, to come with a proposal and say, look, this is the area that was going to be built on before. It was going to have 68 houses. Now we're going to put 72 or something like that and build the line, the capacity that matches that. And once it's built, like you say, it's said and done. Secondly,
I cannot see any interest in doing that by the developer or anybody else. Councillor Peak?
I appreciate and understand the discussion, but I'm satisfied with the proponent's design that's come forward, and I'd like to bring this resolution forward.
Thank you. As presented?
As presented.
Thank you. Seconder, please. Do we have a seconder?
It's already
Councillor
been
Holmes?
moved and seconded, but that's okay.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, because, this discussion where it was going a minute ago indicates really that you're willing to have the developer move backwards now and come up with a whole new proposal in concert with, coincidental with your thinking. And I don't think, as far as I don't believe the developer has any interest in doing that, and he would be more interested in moving ahead with the proposal as it exists. So I can't fathom moving backwards now when the developer appears to be very positive in where he's moving right now. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor? Thank you, the motion carries. No unopposed, thank you very much. Okay, we are where?
14.4.
14.4. Okay, Water Utilities Amendment Bylaw, CO.
Director of Corporate Services.
So this is basically a tidying up amendment of the water utilities bylaw that was amended back in May. In internal staff discussions, it came to light that there may be some concern about the ambiguity of some wording that was put in regarding new connections. At the time it was drafted, staff were thinking a new connection in our minds included both on brand new lots or parts of existing lots. But we wanted to make sure that that was really, really clear, that it also includes new arable area on existing lots, not just new connections to the system. And then as well, a small administrative modification, because we found the form that we were using was not adequate for new connections and new arable area. So we're just loosening up the wording a little bit to make it more practical for staff.
Okay, thank you. Questions of the corporate officer?
Councilor.
Because this is just really a clarification that was already there.
Yeah,
You're just
exactly.
making it more obvious to people who are looking at this information.
Precisely.
Okay, thank you. Okay, would someone like to bring this resolution forward, please? Councillor Bartlett.
Move the resolution as written in our...
Okay. Seconder, please. Councillor Peak, thank you very much. Okay, all in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. And opposed, thank you very much. Okay, we're moving into councillor reports. Starting with Councillor Trainer.
I don't really have too much to report. I spent the last 10 days traveling in the States.
Sounds like a better report than we had.
And I had a really good vacation. The only thing that I would mention is that on August 20th is the Ogopogo bathtub race, and this year it's moving from Peach Orchard, thank you, to Powell Beach, which is in my neighborhood. So that will be an all-day event, and I'm looking forward to going down and watching that. So August 20th at Powell Beach,
So you're
bathtub
not-
race.
You're not in a tub?
No, I couldn't get mine out of the bathroom.
Councillor Barkwell.
I attended the Garnet Valley Open House presentation, and I thought it was, I appreciate staff's job there. I think it was very well received and a necessary and productive get-together. And I tossed out the first horseshoe for the horseshoe pitching tournament at our newly refurbished pitches, which the club really appreciates, and there's 2 new ones, and they've spruced up
Cool.
their building and everything, and it looks really good, and they're going to host some large tournament next year. And I didn't hit a ringer, so I want to try again next year.
So you realize close only counts in horseshoes,
Yeah,
right?
well, I didn't even get it too close.
And grades. Councillor Boot.
Just a few things. To add to Councillor Trainer's note about the Ogopogo bathtub race, this year there's a sandcastle competition as well,
Oh.
and that also is at Rotary in the afternoon. August the 23rd, which I realize there's one more council meeting, but I wanted to let people know this. The Summerland Healthy Living Initiative has received funding for a series of 5 films, and the first one is August the 23rd at Center Stage, and it's about food security and food, keeping things sustainable in your community. So that will be interesting. I also attended the Garnet Valley Open House. At RDOS last Thursday, there was a presentation from Glenn Manduziak and Ellen Walker Matthews about rail trails, and they were looking for support for the for TODA from the RDOS, just a letter of support. They are starting their plans, well, I guess they're probably well underway for their plans for the 150th anniversary next year. And something that was interesting that they brought up, that Glenn brought up, was that in order to compete with, like on a global scale, European cyclists primarily, they need to have stretches of 150 kilometers uninterrupted. That's the scale of what they're looking at, which is considerable, 150 kilometers. Another thing of note, and no pressure or anything, we received our schedule of meetings for budget and strategic planning from RDOS. It starts November the 2nd, and I think there was 10 meetings or something scheduled. So we do have some work ahead of us. And I apologize, I will be away this Thursday. I wanted to attend the Cultural Plan Task Force workshop, not workshop, the Cultural Plan workshop, but I will be away. Thank you.
Where?
Disney World, I'm
That's
going to
what I
Disney
thought.
World.
Okay, Councillor Carlson.
I'm going to Disney World in October. I don't have anything to report.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Holmes.
No report.
Report. Councillor Pete.
Yeah, I want to thank staff for the open house regarding Margaret Valley. I thought it was very well handled, and it was really good discussion. Most people are well aware of what's going on and have great interest, and there was some good topic discussion. I thought it was a really good evening, so thank you very much, Mr. Johnson. That's appreciated. There was a Culture Task Force meeting, and we had welcomed Japanese students, 7 students and 2 chaperones, and the mayor and I have been around at some of the events, and I want to thank council for being available for the welcoming and reception. And they certainly enjoyed their ice cream cake, even though they were late arriving. And the little speeches by the students on the Sayonara dinner on Sunday were really touching. They don't have supermarkets like we do. Some of the exposures to be able to swim in a large body of water, those that felt confident enough to do it, they really enjoyed it. They weren't able to take a boat ride because the winds were so high on Sunday, but they certainly were appreciative of the opportunity to be here and be involved. So thank you everyone for welcoming me.
Their English was excellent, considering.
It was, wasn't it?
So, is there any member of the public here that would like to speak? Guess not.
No others.
Press. Susan? John? Thank you very much. Okay, can we have a motion for adjournment, please? Councillor Barkwald, Councillor Carlson, thank you. All in favor? Thank you, meeting is adjourned.